Good evening, Drew.
Hey Paul, how you doing?
Oh, how are you doing? You sound a little down.
Yeah, I'm just really sleepy. I took a little nap when I shut down for work today, and I'm just getting my ass kicked, man. It's just been rough. How
Sorry to
about
hear.
you?
So far so good. This week's actually been nice. It's been a nice week. No.
Yeah. Are you through all your stressful stuff at work?
Yes, for the most part, yeah. I mean, there's
Hmm.
always stuff going on, but yeah, the big stuff's all finished, and so we're getting back to normal. And whoa, hold on.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
so no. We'll get to this a little bit later, but I had to kind of reorganize my office over this past weekend and move some stuff around. And part of that meant reattaching my boom arm for my mic. And this is the first time I've really used it since then. And it just tried to collapse on me. So that was fun.
Hmm.
Hmm,
Hmm.
hmm.
I really can't wait to hear about it. You want to start there because I'm genuinely curious. Why don't we just start there?
Okay. So I've been thinking about getting a standing desk for a while.
Yep.
I don't know. Do you have a standing desk, Drew?
I own two of them.
You're going two of them. Okay, so I've been thinking about making the switch. I spend more and more time, working from home and just everything. I'm an old man. Everything just kind of hurts a little bit. So I'm like, you know what? I should stand more. So just as I kind of made that decision, I don't know. I felt like the internet was reading my mind, and Monoprice sent me this email saying, "Hey, we sell standing desks, and we sell standing desk frames, and we sell standing desk toppers. And if you buy them together, we'll give you a big old discount, and you'll save a lot of money." So I'm like, you know what, the price was right. Uh, I like the aesthetics of everything, so I made a purchase. And so
I
everything.
really I just want to jump ahead. I really wish you would have consulted me first.
Okay. Why is that?
I think you could have done better. But
Okay.
go ahead and finish your thought.
Okay.
Go,
So
go ahead.
so at the end of the day, I'm actually really happy with the frame is really nice. The desk was the right size for the hole in my office that I had. It's about the same size. I had this old. I mean, it's not old, but I had this IKEA, very simple IKEA desk in my office for years. It actually made like a couple of moves. It's held together forever. This is just about the same size as that. Uh, but here's the issue that I had. So at the end of the day, like I said, I'm perfectly happy. It works really well. It's really stable. It gets to all of the heights that I need. I prefer to have my desk probably lower than most people because I really focus on my ergonomics when I'm sitting and trying to keep my wrists at my elbows at a 90-degree angle and not putting too much pressure on my wrists. So I keep my desk like really just like it really just sits on top of my legs. Like it's about that close. So I needed something that actually went down low enough. Uh, so this is actually one of the few desks I found that actually went as low as I need or as
Mhm.
I prefer. So, anywho, I made some fundamental assumptions when I purchased this bundle that that Monoprice offered. Right, so the bundle was two separate pieces. Right, it was the standing desk frame and then a tabletop. And the top tabletop comes in three pieces, so they can ship it easier. The seams don't bother me. It lines up really nice. It's all well and good. But I assumed that the the desk and the frame kind of went together. Uh and that was an assumption that was just flat out wrong. Uh
Did you have to drill holes in
oh,
it?
I sure did have to drill
Yeah.
holes in it.
Yep.
Uh
Yep.
which was fine, but like the desk itself, like it assembles together so the three pieces become one, and it's got like pre-drilled holes for something. I don't know what that something is, but it sure in the hell wasn't the frame that Monoprice also sold me. Uh, also, I'm glad I did some inspecting and some reading on the internet as well. The hardware, the screws that came with the frame were actually too big for the desk. They would poke through if you just use them as is. So luckily I figured that out, and I got some washers so I wasn't punching holes through my desk. Honestly, the worst part of the whole situation, which is something I really didn't consider, was just cable management. Once I got the holes drilled and everything put together, it's really nice. Like I said, it works really well. I'm super happy with it. It's just I haven't quite figured out my cable management situation yet. It's like it's got like a tray for putting cables and I guess like a power strip. But I like having a UPS because even though I have a laptop, I just like having a UPS, and obviously that won't fit. So it's like having enough slack in all of the power cables that kind of go up, but not so much slack that when it's down, you're constantly kicking cables. So I'm still trying to figure that out, and I've bought some different things to help with that. But yeah, all in all, I'm happy. Just be careful that if you buy the Monoprice, standing desk, tabletop, and frame, make sure you have a good drill.
All right, now I'm going to tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
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 So Paul, I'm not mad. Mm-hmm. I'm just disappointed. Just because, on this podcast, you and I have taken a lot of stances on if we want nice things, we're willing to pay for them.
Yep.
And I just feel like at the end of the day, you kind of got a substandard product there. I've never used a Monoprice standing desk. I'm sort of looking at the pictures that you put in the notes mm-hmm. here. I noticed that you have kind of the curved front mm-hmm. of the desk.
Yes.
And it's sort of alarming to me that it looks like there are rails under this desk, but those don't go into your frame. Like that seems like that's not, I guess, not great. Now, did you go with white or did you go with black, gray? What'd you get?
I went with white. Okay. White across the board. Yep. White.
Got it. Now, how big of it?
The curve is actually a lot more subtle than it appears in the pictures. I really don't even notice it. The desk is what? It's 63 inches across, and 31 and a half inches wide. Yeah. Which is just about the size of my last desk. So it actually fit in perfectly with, and the thing is, like, I'm not looking for a lot out of a desk. Like, I had mm-hmm. the most simple desk from IKEA before. It was simply just particle board on some legs, and it was absolutely fine. This is really just a, I mean, I'm not even going to say a step up. It's a step sideways with the standing, the standing features. And honestly, like, the motors are real smooth. The controls are super easy to use. It does exactly what this is exactly what I want from a desk. Very simple, very plain.
Okay. This is what you should have looked at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you click on that link I just dropped in the show doc, this is the company that I think is almost kind of universally recognized as the standing desk company these days, just because they offer so much customizability. They ship really quickly. The prices are really good. They throw in a ton of optional extras if you want them. I just want you to go ahead and follow that link for me.
Yeah, I mean, those are fine. They're fine. I don't like. Oh, the question is how low do they go? Because most of the stuff I looked at the standing desk does not go low enough.
Mine goes pretty low. Now, I mean, I haven't measured, right? But mine goes pretty low. And I like that they offer you a lot of different options for the tabletop. So, like, I have two bamboo tabletop ones for this. They come in different sizes, which ultimately, I mean, that's the reason I arrived at Uplift, is because when I bought my original desk, I was trying to fill a really weirdly sized cubby in my basement. And at the time, the standing desk that everybody told me to get was made by Autonomous. And Autonomous makes perfectly fine desk, but they only make two sizes of desk. They either make really big or really small. The one that their smaller size one would have not filled the space completely, and I just felt that would have looked weird. And their bigger one wouldn't have fit at all. What I like about Uplift is when you order the desks, they give you 5 different sizes that you can get. And in terms of shipping and what they offer you, everything is just, it comes in like 2 or 3 boxes. It's super easy to assemble. You don't have to drill any holes. You can really get pretty crazy. So like if you're kind of looking at the configurator, like if you do the 60 by 30 bamboo or whatever top you want, I did a white frame. You can choose what kind of grommets you want. You can have ones that have built-in USB or built-in power. You can choose the kind of keypad you want. They actually have some really cool looking ones now that I wish I would have had. But
yeah, see, looking at this, I would literally spend more than twice what I spent on mine, and I don't, and I don't
absolutely don't doubt it.
To me, it's absolutely not worth it. Absolutely not worth it. I'm very happy with what I got. It was exactly the price I was willing. I think I got a good value for my money. I do not mind the aesthetics of it. Like this, like I can make something that looks almost like my desk and pay a lot more. And meh.
Yeah. And I got pretty wild with it. Like I got casters on there. I've got I ordered a you can buy little drawers that sort of that go into the bottom of the desk. You have to drill those holes though. That part kind of sucks. But yeah, monitor arms, like the whole deal. But the other thing I want to call out here is this desk also, you can get some built-in cable management options, which is pretty nice too. Which, it sounds like that's something that's a little bit of a pain point right now.
I've got it mostly under control.
Yeah. I would say the only thing worth investing there is that. Just dropped another link in the show chat. This is what I use for all my cable management needs these days.
Yes. See, this is exactly the I was actually looking for stuff like this. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. This is what I need. And what I'm looking at is this is a link on Micro Center, a split loom cable organizer. It's basically a tube that you run cables in. Yes. This is exactly what I need. Yes, thank you for this. This is going to be a purchase this weekend.
Yep. Now when you get into this particular fetish of cable management, and believe me, I've been living in it for a while now. I just want to draw one other thing to your kind of attention here. So I dropped one more Micro Center link in there. Just go ahead and click on that for me.
Yeah, the cable box. See, all of my cables are already like. There's the UPS on the floor. And all of that kind of runs up into the cable tray. The biggest thing in there is the power supply for my Thunderbolt dock that I use is in there. So I really don't have a lot of stuff on the floor to hide. I really think if I get something like this split loom cable organizer, that's going to solve the problem. Because really what I have is the issues of just the cables. Like I'm going to have to play around with it too, because like, again, like it's this sweet spot of having, enough slack that when it goes up, I'm not unplugging things, which I mismeasured the first time, and I lifted my desk up and I unplugged everything, and it was super embarrassing.
Happens to everybody.
Yep. And not having so much slack that, my feet get tangled up on it. But I think something like this would help just kind of keep all the, like I have them all cable tied together. So they're already in one like bunch, kind of going up from the power supply up to the desk. But I think something like this would just be better. Plus, it would also look just a little nicer. Yes.
Yeah, the cable box is really good if, like, for me, where I'm recording this podcast, my Ethernet cable runs out of the back of my computer and through the side of the wall. Like there's a small little gap in the wall that I kind of feed that through, and then that goes across my basement to my router. Well, that Ethernet cable is obscenely long. So the cable box is nice because I still have enough slack sticking out of it.
Yes.
Right? So if you have like really long cables that even still have slack, these are really nice. Or if you have little transformers.
You can spool them up and put the excess in this box. Right. Yes, if I had that, I would be all over that. But right now, and I did with my last setup when, my traditional not standing desk. But right now, but if I did, this would be And these are all
Yeah.
in stock at Micro Center. Look at that.
They are. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the plastic tubing, like that sheathing is really good. It's really easy to work with. You can cut it with scissors. You just kind of cut it the length. You just wrap your cables in it, and it looks way much better. Way much better.
Yes. I need this. Okay, this is getting bookmarked. And yep.
Now the only other thing from a cable management perspective that I've invested in is, let me see if I can find these real quick. This has also been kind of a lifesaver. Oh, that's not one. Let me see here. I know they have them. Well, they sort of look like. They look like this, but they're not this. This is the closest. Okay. This is the closest I can find.
Okay. Yep. So I already have some of those cable clips that I have a couple of things. Like primarily, it's for. I have one that I kind of have fastened on the underneath of my desk, because I have this really nice, again, my microphone arm. I have this really nice boom arm that has integrated cable management, right? So it's got this XLR cable that is insanely too big, and it kind of runs. That's on the right side of my desk, but my audio interface is on my left side of the desk, so I have to run it kind of across the cable. So I don't want to like catch that and pull that out. So that's really nice and neatly, like tucked high, attached to the very like bottom of my desk, and then through the tray, and then up the other side to my audio interface. So that's all done. But I do need something for. I have a couple of cables that I kind of want to keep controlled on the top of my desk. So something like this might be a little,
And for my computer upstairs that I do most of my work on during the day, I'm going to drop just one more link in here. This was an option that I got for free when I bought my desk, and this is what sort of turned me on to this whole thing, because that little trough kind of goes under your desk, and the wires kind of rest in that, which is also a pretty good thing. I mean, you could probably buy that separately, but like it.
My desk came with, like, I have a trough that like my power supply sits under. The power supply for my Thunderbolt dock sits in there, and and the cables that kind of go left to right are sitting in there. And this is nice. It comes with all the little the shields and all that wonderful stuff. But yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're enjoying it so far, I take it.
I am. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to stand for at least an hour each day, if not more. It is living a more sedentary life in quarantine. I kind of just need my legs need to get used to doing more, like supporting my weight more. So yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it. It's helped with my back pain a bit. So
okay,
so far so good.
All right. Oh, I'm happy if you're happy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's the theme of this podcast. Do we want to take a trip to Drew's Computer Corner?
You know what? So it's kind of funny, right? So I want to just share a little bit with our listeners. So we have this Google Doc that we go through, and we put ideas in there, and we put links in there, and it's kind of where we collect ideas for the next show. And, I only visit it maybe twice a week if I have an idea, and I usually kind of check, at least I check kind of the afternoon before we record. We record on Thursdays to see if Drew put anything in there. So Drew put some stuff in there earlier that we'll talk about, and I added a couple things, and I added something else, and then I checked back, I checked back recently, and there was a new entry that Drew added onto here, and I laughed because he made a proclamation in the last podcast that he wasn't going to talk about this anymore. But here we are. Drew, how's your computer?
It's perfectly fine.
Good. But,
hold on. The title of the update is Drew went one whole week without fucking up his computer. Like, that was the title of the update, and that is 100% honest truth.
Good. I'm glad it's temperature's good. Everything's working well.
Nice. Yep. Everything's great.
Okay. But question mark?
Yeah. I am considering making some changes.
Okay.
I'm still looking for that happy medium. I'm still looking for the best way to keep my temperatures and my overall system noise kind of low. It's not bad at all, right? This is me pushing it because I finally have everything kind of the way that it's working, and it's working well, and I'm generally pleased, and I just need to leave well enough alone. But of course I can't.
Okay.
And part of that frustration comes from the fan controller issue that I went into depth, if you even care, last time. I went into that kind of in detail. So I'm looking for ways to sort of consolidate some things now, try to not have any pieces of terrible software that control parts of my motherboard and parts of my lighting setup and all that stuff. So anyway, I am considering going all kind of back in on NZXT products. NZXT makes kind of higher end equipment for computers. They're really big in the PC case space. They're really good. They're really good and really big in the AIO cooling space, case fan space, I should say. They're really good in that area. Mm-hmm. And I've used their products before. My original water cooling build was in what was known as an H710i case. I got everything to fit in there, and it worked great. Had plenty of room to sort of mess around in there, and everything was good. The main reason I kind of want to go back to them is, in the NZXT family of products, there's controller software that you can use to control case lighting, fan speeds, pump speeds. I think it'd just be nice if I could just get on one thing, and sort of taking the fan responsibilities away from the motherboard will give me a little more freedom in how I want to power my pump and power my fans. So the H710i and the Z73, which is the 360 millimeter AIO cooler, are two things that would pair really nice together, and I think would help me consolidate and monitor my system better, keep it somewhat cooler. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. So I'm just looking at doing that. I've flirted with putting those in my Amazon cart, or saying screw it and driving to Micro Center and buying them because they carry those at Micro Center. But I haven't yet. I'm just thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it.
I really like their design aesthetic for their cases.
Yes, they are very, very nice.
They are very clean, they make a statement, but in a very minimalistic sort of way.
Yeah, and that's the really, really interesting thing about these cases, because in the case market, you're really limited, because a lot of times you're sort of forced to make a choice. You have to make a choice between having like a glass front on your case, right? That's a thing that's really popular. Or you have a mesh front case. There are very few cases that have, at least, maybe this is anecdotally, but there are very few cases that have solid panels with nothing on the front. Like there's no lighting on the front. I think maybe the NZXT logo might light up, but there's nothing on the front. There are very few USB ports on it. There is just one very discrete power switch with an LED that also serves as an HED LED, HDD LED.
And some of them even have them on all that stuff on the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is also what I like. It just keeps the front of the case clean. A lot of the case is also toolless, like the side panel pops off. The glass panel pops off with one thumb screw. They have really good cable management. They're relatively spacious to work in, probably not as spacious as the case I have now. They're really modular. You could take out the parts you don't need. They accommodate pretty much all different sizes of radiators and all that stuff. So anyway, like I said, I've worked with this case before, and it's a really good case. It has built-in LED lighting, which I know you're not a fan of, but it's built in. It has a smart controller for the fans also built into the case, so you can plug your fans into that and then control the controller from outside the BIOS with the software that comes with this. And and they come in different colors. They have white, they have black. They also have black and red, which I'm kind of lukewarm on, but I don't know.
I think my son would love that case. He would the black and red. He would, yeah.
Yeah. And the H710i, by the way, is the full size case. If I was going to build a new computer that was not full-size ATX, I would also be looking at them. They make another case line. They call it's called the H510 and the H510 Elite. If you look at the H510 Elite,
I like that case a lot. Yes,
it's very nice.
That's a compact case, though, right?
That's a mid tower. I think they call it a mid tower.
Okay.
Yeah, but I still think it fully fits ATX, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Mini ITX, micro ATX, and ATX. So
Okay.
you could fit a full fledged motherboard in there,
Okay.
and that's a pretty good looking case, if I'm honest.
It is. That is really good looking. I like the white and the white better than the black, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I kind of, if I'm being honest, the only thing I kind of don't love about it is you're limited in the size of the radiators you can put.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're sort of limited to, I think, a 240 or a 280, and you have to put it in the front.
Yeah.
Or you could put a single stack guy on the top. Radiator you could either do a 280 or a 240, and you have to put it in the front. And I think because the front is glass, it needs to be in a pool configuration, which means you're putting warm air in your case. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are pretty slick.
Yeah. So anyway, both of those cases are pretty nice, and they make pretty good stuff. But anyway, my point is that even with the H710i, you still get pretty good airflow. They're basically brute forcing intake on the front with their, because if you go back to the 710i, you can kind of see that there's little intake vents kind of all around the outside of the case.
I do see that. Yes.
Yeah. So, and again, this is me pushing it, right? Because I have a Fantex case right now. It's really good. It's very spacious. A lot of cable management. It's perfectly fine. It's a perfectly fine case. I don't need this. I'm just thinking, is it worth doing the upgrade? Because maybe it is. I don't know.
That is a nice looking case, Drew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you also are looking at the NZXT website, if you go to PC components and then you go to cooling, I have owned several NZXT coolers before. The one I'm looking at is the Kraken Z73, which has a little built-in LCD screen.
You like those screens?
I do. But this one's much nicer than the other screen that I had. Much nicer. It's round,
yeah,
you know,
I see that.
So
Mm-hmm.
a little aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And then through the software, you could put different labels on there. I could stack up different, temperature meters or all sorts of things in there. So
yeah, I could definitely see going with one brand with all of your controls and your lighting and all that, and your cooling, just so you have one place to go. That feels very much me.
Yeah, because right now, right, in order for me to control everything in here, I need to have the motherboard software to control the fans, which is not great software. I'm not in love with it. I have to have a piece of software to either turn off or turn on the lighting on my graphics card. I have the software, a separate piece of software that is no longer integrated into the motherboard software for controlling the case lighting and the motherboard lighting. And I don't have a good program that offers good monitoring, I guess. So, and NZXT is a little bit scummy too. The software that they use, this is one thing that it doesn't bother me as much, but it does bother a large portion of people who get angry about these things on the internet. Is the software they offer? If you're still on the NZXT website, under the hamburger menu, there's a section called PC monitoring.
Okay.
And they have some really good pictures in here about what it can monitor and how you can use it to control the different temperatures and things. But this requires you to log into it, and I think they do some data collection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people aren't in love with that.
Yeah, I could.
But the software itself it's better than most, right? Like you could just tell by looking at it that it's got a clean design, and it's really easy to configure things in there. It shows you like at a glance dashboard. It allows you to record statistics over time, which is important to me. And like I said, I've used it before. In fact, my streaming PC, the PC that is the one that is responsible for encoding and sending things up to the interwebs, that is in an NZXT case right now. It also has an NZXT cooler in it, like an older NZXT cooler. So I've sort of bought into this, and as the words are coming out of my mouth, I'm like, I'm just going to order this on Amazon tonight. Fuck it,
There
I
you
don't
go.
care.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm a terrible person.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's it for the computer update. Just wanted to check in and say everything's fine, but again, I'm continuing to push it. Oh, also as an aside to you, you're going to be missing about the first 10 minutes of my audio because I forgot to turn it on. leave all this in. I'm terrible. I'm really tired. It's been a long week.
Oh, that's okay.
So the first, if people are wondering why the first part of the show I sound weird or sound different, that's why.
Well, good thing I record both sides of the Skype conversation just for that very reason.
The double header.
And luckily, the Skype was actually sounded really good tonight. So,
Skype hitting different.
Yeah, it's doing a good job.
Yeah. Next topic I want to briefly drop into here is with COVID. A lot of my friends, yourself included, we haven't been able to get together and play board games as much anymore. It makes me really sad.
I'm also sad about this.
Yeah, but it hasn't stopped me from buying board games.
Same.
Yeah. There's two in particular that I have recently purchased, and I put them on here for one very particular reason, and I want to see if you can discern why that is. Okay. The first one is a game I already own. Surprise, surprise. Yep. Bezier Games is putting out a new collector's edition of Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Castles of Mad King Ludwig, I think everybody I've ever introduced this game to has enjoyed it. This collector's edition is looking to sort of take the game and, much like they did with Suburbia collector's edition, just kind of crank this shit to 11. If you go to the Kickstarter page that I linked, and it'll be in show notes, you can see that it is it ticks all of the Drew boxes for a collector's edition of a board game.
Yeah.
Game trays built in, new artwork, better tiles, little towers for player markers.
Them coins.
Well, Paul. Paul, you have backed Kickstarter projects before.
I have.
Do you feel that you would get the metal coins with the base pledge?
Oh, of course. I'm sure that is an add-on. Yeah.
I just want you to kind of scroll through through the pledge levels here and see where those start to come into play.
Okay. So, let's see. It starts at $99. That gives you the base
$99,
which is
acceptable.
It's acceptable. Yes, especially for a nice board game where they put a lot of work. The artwork on this looks fantastic. It comes with the built-in cable management. It comes in with those 8 mini, not cable management. Built-in organizer, so you get the game trays. You get all the stretch goals, with the exception of the player color sets. Okay, so $99. You give them $20 more, and $129. And you get, or $30 more, excuse me, I can math. So the $129 is where you get the metal coins, the poker chip like favors, the plastic swan tokens, and I think that's the sweet spot. And
that's the sweet spot.
The backer totals make that evident. Most of the people have backed at that level. You get all the cool stuff, and what do you get for the $170 colossal version? You get box set of all colossal rooms, colossal secret passages, colossal. That might be too much. I don't know, but then again, my brain would be like, for $40, you don't want to miss out, Paul.
Well, that's how they get you, man. Yeah. It's like the chips. It's like chips in a Mexican restaurant, man. They fill you up. I went with the $129 option.
Smart.
And honestly, the thing that sold me on it was not the metal coins, but the plastic swan tokens, because they give you so many swan tokens, and it's so hard to manage those tokens.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
I do.
How many swan tokens there are.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Those are really nice components. Yes.
Yeah. Bezier has yet, or Bezier, however you say this name. They have not let me down in terms of games. I wasn't feeling the $169 version. Yeah, but the colossal version looks pretty cool. that colossal waterfall scoreboard may come back to haunt me. That does look pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You can change your pledge,
no.
can't you?
Yes, I can.
I don't know if I think you made the right choice. I don't think it's going to be worth the amount of times you're going to be able to bring that to the table. I'm not sure the $40 is worth that.
Receive an additional box of colossal rooms. I guess they're just bigger pieces.
Bigger pieces, yes. Much bigger pieces.
You get a whole second box. You get a box for your box.
You get a box for all the big pieces because the big pieces won't fit in the first box.
Yeah. All right. So that's game number one. Castles. If you've never played Castles of Mad King Ludwig, you can get it digitally. I think on iPads, I believe.
Yeah.
I may be wrong about that.
There is a digital version. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic game.
It's a good game.
Everybody should own it. It's a great game. It's pretty easy to pick up, hard to master, really fun to play. Plays relatively quickly. Not a crap ton of setup, and it's just fun. You're building something, and I like games where you build things. The other game on here was one that came to my attention by way of Shut Up and Sit Down. They have reviewed this game before.
Mm-hmm.
Are you clapping?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I want to play this game so bad.
Okay, so this next game is Rococo Deluxe. It is a re-release of the game Rococo, which has been out of print for a while, and the premise of this game is you are a tailor. And there is going to be a huge gala at the royal estate, and the more people you can put in your clothes, the more points you get. And you also have to deal with things like catering, and there's other little.
Yep.
This game looks like a giant spreadsheet, but it isn't. And I have played this game once. I have not played the deluxe version. It's not a game that I own.
Okay.
So this would be a new game in the collection. And this re-release is what they're calling the deluxe version, updated art, which I think looks really good.
Amazing.
Yeah, the artwork in the old game wasn't bad. It fit the theme, but I wasn't really super sold on it. This looks way better. And this one costs $109.
Yes, it does. That was one of the main things they talked about in the Shut Up and Sit Down review was the price, because that was their only complaint was how expensive it was. But I think the point was, like, if you don't get the game very much and you like having a, big, nice, luxurious, I think luxury was a word they used a lot, and I do like a luxurious board game. And I almost texted you, and you're like, "Are you going to buy this, or am I going to buy this?"
Well, sounds like I'm going to buy it,
yep.
Paul. Yeah, but see, if I remember from the review correctly, some of the nicer components in that game were optional add-ons.
Yeah,
I think metal coins were one of them.
Yeah,
right? There
was another edition that was even bigger that had other expansions in it. I think that's what the is it? Can you even find it in here? There was.
Well, I'm looking at their accessories page to see if they even have it. I don't think they do. On sale, entire catalog. Does their search work? Sometimes it's a hit. ROCOCCO, I believe. Oh yeah, Rococo Deluxe Plus.
That's it, Deluxe Plus.
Yep. Apparently it's in stock, and it is $127. Expert Tailors, multicolored polyresin Queenie figure. 32 alternate garment tiles. Oh, I guess the metal coins didn't. No, the metal coins did not come with it. But wait a minute, I thought they said it came with metal coins.
I thought that came.
I don't know.
The Deluxe Plus.
I thought it did too. Oh, let's see here. Oh man, I can't remember.
Computers are hard.
Double-sided game board. Oh, contents. Okay, here we go. Resource tiles, punch board. 50 punch board coins. Even in the Rococo Deluxe Plus, you're only getting 50 punch board coins. So you need value 5, value 10, value 20. Well, it just so happens in their store, I think on page like 4.
They sell.
I think they have some metal coins. Yeah, you can. Listen, I bought accessory metal coins for things before, so I can get that done. Anyway, so those are two games that I bought. They're really expensive, and the reason that I sort of put those ones on there is board games have started to creep up into like the $70-$80 range recently. And I don't know if that's like a shipping and tariff type thing, or if that's just what games are going to cost now. Because when I first started collecting games, even a good big box game like Descent, second edition, like I think that was like $70, and that was just chock full of miniatures and tiles, and it wasn't like outrageously expensive. But now it just seems like games have gone up a lot. And listen, I'm blessed in the fact that I can afford to enjoy this hobby and get the good versions of the games. But I do feel like it will start pricing people out at some point, and I would hate to see that market crash.
I mean, to me, I think part of it is really the Kickstarter factor, right? So many of these Kickstarter games, they try to get you in by like the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. That's an exception because that's a re-release of the game as an upgraded version. But so many of them is like, hey, no one's played this game before. You should buy it because big plastic minis, and look at all the stuff that you get. And that, those big plastic minis drive the price up and up. And I think everyone's just reacting to that and competing. Because, I mean, let's face it, like a lot of these Kickstarters do extremely well, regardless of whether the game's any good or not. Right? Like, look at all the stuff that Cool Mini, or what do they call themselves now? Just Come On, is it their Cool Mini or not? Whatever. Like, they're just pushing out game after game after game, and it's just, look at all this stuff you get. So I have a feeling that they're, everyone's trying to go upscale to compete with Kickstarter, or maybe they see an opportunity like, hey, like people are backing $170 Kickstarter games. We can send, put some better components in there, increase the margins a little bit, and make more money. So who knows?
Yeah, I honestly feel that that's kind of where it's at. And I have started to turn a more critical eye to the big flashier board games. I want to, for the group of people that you and I sort of travel in the board game spheres, we enjoy a good crunchy game over a big war game, I think.
Yeah, it depends on the mood. Like, I've really enjoyed playing games like Cthulhu Wars, the asymmetrical area control. But like games like Zombicide and those kind of style, those never really stuck with us, right? I'd rather play a Concordia or heck, even Terraforming Mars, even though I suck at that game so hard.
But it's so good.
It's better than average. I don't like it as much as other people that play at our table, but I mean, it's a well constructed game, and I one of these times I'm not going to suck at it. But like, what was the last game night we had? What was the like main course that we played? What was that game? Or maybe it was the time before then. I don't know. Yeah. Like, we're not afraid of crunch or lots of rules or like a heavy Euro game. But
no, we're pretty comfortable there.
Oh.
All right. Well, anyway, those are on their way to me. I mean, the Kickstarter won't get here till probably later this year, assuming everything stays on track. A lot of Kickstarter games that I backed last year have yet to materialize, but 2020, right?
Exactly.
So those will get here eventually, and I have a lot of other good ones that are sort of in various stages of production. So more to come on that. I just thought I'd share. I just think it's interesting that these games are starting to get to the price that they are.
Yeah.
I hope I get a chance to play them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to sitting down and playing Rococo. I want to play Pandemic Legacy Season 0.
Yeah, right. We haven't even played that yet.
I want to bring Isle of Cats to the table because that game is terrific.
I really want to play that game.
I've also recently played New York Zoo, which is the new UA. What's his name? God dang it,
UA Rosenberg.
Yeah, him. That game. It's a very light, fast kind of polynomino laying game that is, I think, really good. My family enjoyed that. Not as much as Isle of Cats, but it takes like a third of the time. Good stuff.
Okay. All right. Why don't you take us home with this last topic? Because I'm dying to sort of know what's going on here.
Okay, Drew. So first I kind of have to define some roles in the Baylor household. Okay. So my wife and I, we get along really well, but we do have different functions in the family. She's kind of she handles, what I call public relations, dealing with friends, scheduling that kind of stuff. She's also, she's an educator, so she's always taken a stronger role in making sure that my kids are doing their homework and keeping up on stuff and learning and instilling into them a love of reading and all that wonderful hoo-ha. One of the things, I do, my share of the housework, stuff like that. When we're dealing with like companies or people like selling us a service or providing a service, we're pretty much well divided in that she's the good cop and I'm the bad cop. All right, if we have problems and we want to talk about things nicely, she will do it. If we get to the point where someone needs to get yelled at, that's my job. We don't have to do it very often. I don't enjoy doing it, but I am very good at it. So keep that in mind as we kind of talk about my son's education this year. Now, both of my kids are still doing remote learning, right? So they're taking their courses at home, primarily over a computer and Zoom and things like that. So, and my daughter's teachers are all really well. Most of my son's classes are okay. His social studies could be a little better. But I want to really focus on math. My son, he's in 8th grade. So he's, doing 8th grade math stuff. And how it kind of started was my wife would help him with math. So first, let me tell you what my son's math education entails in its entirety. Every week there is what looks to be a scan of a piece of paper cropped down into a crummy, low quality JPEG that lists what needs to be done this week. And what needs to be done is kind of split across 2 different systems, right? A majority of it is watching videos on Khan Academy. I'm sure, have you heard of the Khan Academy?
I think I have.
Okay, so watching videos on the Khan Academy, taking some quizzes there, and then there will be tests, an actual test in a different system called Schoology. Okay? That's it. There's no Zooms. The teacher has no involvement besides making sure, record keeping. He has no one to ask questions to. The teacher, if he had a question with math, the teacher basically watch the Khan Academy video again. That's it. His education is what I like to call playlists and hope.
Okay.
It's watch these videos and hope you figure it out. So some of the math can be really confusing. It's a subject that, while he figures it out, he kind of struggles. Once he learns it, he's fine, but he kind of struggles just kind of grasping some of the concepts the first time around. So the first part of the school year, my wife dealt with all of the math. She felt like she could handle it. It was something she understood. But recently, in the last, I don't know, the last 9 weeks, it became there was just more of it and she had other things to do. And the math kind of got more complicated and she didn't feel comfortable with it anymore. So I kind of took over helping Zach with his math, which basically means is we sit down and we watch the Khan Academy videos together. And I help him with the quizzes. And then, he asks questions and, if I have to pause the video and explain something to him.
One quick question. Mm-hmm. So what grade math is this?
8th.
Okay. So is it algebra then?
Yeah, there's lots of algebra. We're doing some basic geometry now. So let's bring the whole story to a head here. Now there is one more little piece of detail that needs to be kind of explained. So so obviously the quizzes inside of Khan Academy makes sense with the curriculum, right? You watch some videos, we've been doing stuff on the Pythagorean theorem and parallel lines and transversal lines that cross them and things like that, right? Some geometry stuff. every once in a while, when you go to the Schoology test, which is in a different system, right, there will be a couple of questions that are covering material that was not covered in any of the Khan Academy videos. They're like brand new, out of the blue, like not review, not anything, just like, oh, like we thought you would also be learning this, but you didn't. And it's, it's a couple of questions, we kind of just figure it out and see if we can't get through them. And if he misses a couple if he misses a couple questions on a 30-point test, like it's really like 3-question test, it's really not that big of a deal. All right. I'm not pleased with it because to me, that means that the teacher's not doing the bare minimum to make sure that the stuff makes sense. He's just going, here's a bunch of stuff, do it. But we kind of got through it. So what happened was this actually happened last Friday after we recorded. So, Zach and I are finishing up his work for the work for the week. And like I said, we're doing parallel lines and angles and the Pythagorean theorem and stuff around there. So we do the last Khan Academy thing, and we have the final test on to do. We leave that to the end of the week on Friday. So we pull up Schoology and we pull up this test that he's supposed to do. And guess how many questions in this 30-question test was stuff that we had covered before?
I'm gonna go ahead and guess 0.
0. Not a single gosh darn question. And I just lost my shit.
In front of Zach?
Oh, dude, I was like, he understands. I mean, he's dealing with the same thing I am, right? Like, it's frustrating for him to hey, I think I did pretty good, but I missed these questions because none of the Khan Academy videos covered this stuff. Like, it's just, so usually it's like, okay, let's Google something real quick and we'll figure it out and we'll kind of just muddle through these. But like not a single question. And like, what if they're like, the teacher's not involved at all in this? And clearly he's not even looking at what he's giving to the kids to do, because if he did, it would be very easily like, oh, we haven't covered this yet. Why am I giving them a test on it? So I got to put on my bad cop hat and I just wrote this scathing email. I have not heard back yet from any of I emailed the teacher and I emailed the person who's the head of the digital academy at our school. But it just made me mad. It's, like one of the things that I look at is, my wife, she's a school teacher and she's teaching remote this year. So she has 3 ELA, English language arts. We would have called it reading or English back in the day, us olds. And I look at what she does. And, she has live, Google, they use Google Classroom. So they use like Google Meets. She has live, sessions with each of her classrooms where they talk about the reading material and they go over stuff. She prepares lessons every night, which includes her, because obviously, the kid's not going to be there the whole entire time, right, at the meeting. But so she prepares a lesson every night where she spends and she records a video explaining the lesson, going over stuff, preparing assignments, getting questions that they can answer. So she spends like hours every single night preparing this coursework for her kids. And she spends hours every day online with these kids to make sure that, they're learning. And then I have a math teacher, which I get a blurry JPEG with a playlist of Khan Academy videos. They're like, you figure it out. Good luck. So I don't know. It just upset me, and I wanted to share the story. Yeah.
Well, I think understandably so. Right. I think that kind of sucks. Now, I guess, have any other parents sort of corroborated your story here?
So not a lot of people that we know are doing the digital academy. Most of like my kids' friends are in the physical classrooms. And obviously like they're doing like a hybrid stuff, but so they're not taking the same curriculum. So like, in fact, like all of Zach's friends are in like in the school, like, you know, traditionally like in the classroom. The same thing with all of my daughter's friends. But like it's hard not to argue with it because the proof is right there in the pudding. Like we talked about all these things, and like I've been there for all of the geometry. Like and like the test was geometry concepts like rotation and transversal and, you know, those kinds of things, right? Where you're taking shapes and you're rotating them or you're changing them. Things that I know we will cover, we just haven't, or I assume we will cover. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, you know, that where other kids kind of startled that wasn't on the test either.
It's hard to tell because we have, again, he's not in a classroom setting. He doesn't know any of it. Like, there's no Zoom where this class gets together and talks to the teacher. He is literally by himself for math.
Yeah, that sucks.
Right?
That
so,
sucks.
I mean, and I get that. Like, there is a lot of independent learning in all the other subjects, right? But there's everywhere else, there's always, you know, whether it's, there may not be enough. Like, I wish there was more teacher involvement. And I get like they've kind of like overloaded them and probably giving them more classrooms than they actually can handle. I get it. The schools are underfunded. They scrambled at the last minute to get the stuff together. I understand. But like for math and my son, there is zero teacher interact. Like there might as well not even be a teacher. Because like I like I say, Mr. Khan Academy is Zachary's teacher. And you know, the videos are fine. But like if he doesn't understand something, his only option is to watch the video he didn't understand again or ask me. And so essentially we watch the videos together. So, you know, I can point out stuff or I can tell that he's not getting something, and, you know, we can go through. We really kind of treat the quizzes as kind of like example problems that we can kind of work through together. And I can make sure that he's, you know, really grasping it and, you know, keep a, you know, if he gets something wrong, we can stop before he submits the answer and you know, think about it. And, you know, because let's be honest, like the math itself isn't that hard, but a lot of times it's like you get a word problem and you have to tease out the math out of the word problem. And that's the hard part. But like, if he doesn't understand a concept, I mean, if there was, I imagine this, you know, straw man other kid whose parents are less involved or don't feel comfortable with math going through the same stuff Zachary did. And like, there's no way for that kid to succeed. Like, there's no one for him to reach out to for help, or her. I guess I should be less German. I should say they. There's no one for them to reach out to if they have a question. It's literally just, I guess, watch the video, but slower. Like,
Man, that stinks, man. But I feel bad for Zach.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting through it. Like I said, like we're doing math together. It's obviously like at weird hours because like sometimes I can kind of slip away between like 4 and 5, and we spend down and do an hour of math. Sometimes I can't do that, so it's not till after dinner. You know, sometimes we're stuff going on in the evening and we have to put it off. Like oddly enough, like. This short week, because we had Martin Luther King Day off, has the most work in it that I've ever seen in a week, like twice as much in a short week. So like we already know that like we're going to be working through the weekend because there's no way I can give him enough of my time, you know. And plus, like, no one wants to be sitting for 2 hours of math at one session because your brain will just freaking explode. So it's like, yeah, we're going to have to do a couple of sessions, you know, on Saturday and Sunday to kind of get caught up and make sure that we've got everything done for the week. But yeah, mostly I just wanted to complain, and this is my vehicle for complaining. So,
well, that's what we're here for.
Rant over.
Cool. Well, I hope you get all that resolved. I'm really curious to see if we can bring back the math teacher update for next week.
I will gladly give an update next week on how the math is going. And man, I just can't. The whole time I've been talking, I've literally just been scrolling and looking at the artwork for Rococo, and I dude, the little the little disc that you put on with the little symbols. This just looks so good. Anywho, let's wrap this up, Drew.
Let's do it.
You can find us on the internet at doingtheirbest.com, or on Twitter at doingbestpod. You can reach me at Twitter at Paul Baylor. And where can we find you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm over on Twitter at Pittfurg, Pittfurg.
Awesome. Well, thanks for
Nice one.
Thanks for
leave all this in. Leave it all in.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Oh.